Mayday, mayday. What on earth has he built? Well, we just don't tell. This morning we've got an interesting project, doing something with 4 of these. I've been postponing it for ages, but today is the day. I can see you might be wondering, what on earth has he built? Well, I had this idea to build a plant pot. I don't even know what to call it. Plant pot disguiser or plant pot enhancer. I mean, these are not cost effective based on how much time it takes me to make it and how much you think you might be able to market these for. I wanted to do this one for a friend of ours who's been incredibly kind to us. I think it looks good. Imagine quite a big plant pot in there, nice sort of bay tree or a box tree coming out the top with a plant pot, perhaps even a fruit tree. Now I've got to make 2 frames for a lady in Melbourne, and these have got to be 7 foot high. Whew. That's those 2 frames together. Interesting one, with these being 7 footers. What happens is when you start putting the weave in, these side bits start to bulge. Because as you try and cut in, inevitably you cut them in tight. This outside frame starts to bulge. You want this mid-rail thing in here. And what it'll do is it'll tie the frame in so that it can't bulge then. Because if it bulged, what will happen eventually is if it bulges too much, is the weave will come out of these upright zales and the whole lot start dropping to bits. It's not too bad if you've got some really stout posts and you can get them clamped up and tight and in between the posts nice and quick, and it doesn't move. So anyway, that's why I've done that. And of course with these I've got to put a hole in the bottom for the zales and a hole in the top for the zales as well. So on this one they didn't want the green, and so I'm trying to do my best to try and get it a brown tinge. This is just some light clear coat stuff. I've used Karen's washing it on, just don't tell. Today is May the 2nd. Last year I learned a thing called No Mow May. Never heard of it before. The idea being that you don't mow your grass in May. Well, it's May the 2nd and I thought I've not mowed it for about 2-3 weeks. So I was going to mow it today, so I've mowed it today and I'm not going to mow for the rest of May. The idea is you let the wildflowers develop and let the pollinators come in, do what they do. We'll just give nature a bit of a helping hand, really. Years ago I'd have been ashamed of my garden the way it is now. I used to keep a manicured garden, everything crisp, tight, but not anymore. Try and leave it a bit more to nature. We've got a wildflower strip down the side, lots of berries, keep the grass topped, I don't tend to mow it, and I've found that you just seem to get a lot more wildlife that way. That's just a personal choice, I'm not telling you what to do. Seems to work for me, but if you can, and if you feel like being a bit adventurous, go for a no mow May. Don't mow your lawn during May. See how you get on. See what sort of wildlife you can attract. See if your neighbours complain. I'll see you in the morning up the woods, ready for some panel weaving. Good morning. What another stunning day. Welcome to Woodland Paradise this morning. We have got proper like full-on spring going on here. We've got the apple trees coming out. We've got the May blossom nearly coming out, which is the hawthorn, just about to explode. These are called tree peonies. Not quite out yet, but they're not far off. That was given me. Forget-me-nots on the floor. Apple tree blossom going nuts. More apple tree blossom. It's just stunning. You can see why it's one of my favourites. I mean, look at it. It's just incredible. Even some of the wildflower meadows coming out. Bluebells are out, look. Looking rather stunning. If you want to have a look at what native bluebells and Spanish bluebells are, native bluebells tend to have their bells on pretty much one side of the stem, and that's when they droop over like that, like this, look. Whereas the Spanish type, they have no scent, so you can smell the flowers on these, and often if you go into a bluebell woodland there's quite a heady smell of bluebell scent. Spanish ones apparently have no or little scent, and then they have their flowers sort of kind of spiraling up round sort of like that anyway. So that's pretty much two ways of telling whether they're natives or not. I don't particularly encourage planting non-natives because there's something to do with cross-pollination issues. Spanish bluebells have got slightly fatter stemmed leaves as well, so these leaves are quite slender, whereas I think Spanish ones are almost double that width. Anyway, there's an interesting fact for you. We've got some pink campions, look, or are they red campions? I don't know which is which, but let me know if you think otherwise. These are pretty flowers. And then it won't be long before we start getting oxeye daisies coming up. Got quite a bit of shade going on. You can see it down here, look, my shadow and the tree shadow. It's quite a bit of shade. I would like to lift this canopy a bit more on these edge trees. But what concerns me is this is prevailing wind side, so then you get the wind howling through, and I didn't really want that, because of course the more wind you have through a woodland, the less of a microclimate it creates, and then the birds don't like it as much. That was a little whistle-stop tour of the wildflower meadow. I'm sure in subsequent weeks it will look rather a lot more interesting than that was. I was going to empty my charcoal barrels this morning, but part of me thinks I ought to be getting on and making a start on this first panel rather than getting overly distracted on bagging up charcoal this morning. Monday was May Day, May the 1st, May Bank Holiday some people call it, May Day. Sounds like you're on a submarine, doesn't it? May Day. Depends in what context you hear that. That's funny, I never thought about that before. May Day, May Day. Oh man, you must think I'm absolutely nuts. I decided to have a day at home. It was all to do with a DIY project I've been stalling on for about 7 years. In the 1950s and 60s and the 70s, they just kept adding to a very poorly built electrical system, and honestly it's a nightmare. Monday was the big switch the electricery off, reroute the ring main with a new RCD and move the consumer unit and everything. We had no trips, no electrical failures, tested all the sockets, and everything is absolutely spot on. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that my DJI Action 2 broke. It just stopped. It wouldn't power on, it wouldn't charge, it wouldn't do anything. So I contacted DJI. They said, yes, by all means return it, we'll assess it, and if you want to repair it, we'll give you an estimate for the cost. It's going to be a ridiculous price. I'll just say you have to send it back, and that's it. And they contacted me to say there was an issue with the connections on the bottom. And then they said they're going to do this free of charge, which was great because it's out of warranty by about 2 months. But anyway, I got it yesterday, and they sent me a brand new camera, which is insane. So I know DJI won't be watching this video, but I will put a hashtag link in the bottom, because DJI's customer service is honestly second to none. So thanks ever so much DJI, I really appreciate that, and we'll be getting some epic time lapses from that. Anyway, enough of this waffle, let's get some panels made. And so concludes part 1 of this 2-part panel making. It's almost a bit of a Goliath style panel. 7 foot tall. I think it's got to be the tallest I've ever made. I might go and do a little bit of mulching around my hazel trees. And I've been trying to think of a one-word Wednesday. Peaceful. Today has been very peaceful. If I want to describe my week so far, that's a challenge because I've only had halfway through the week. I could do it in 2 words. My 2 words for the week, I'm going to cheat with this one, is on track. So let me know if you want to have a go. What is your 1 word for the week? How would you describe your week in just 1 word? What's your head? Oh, that's a brute, that is. That was actually the smaller of the 2 panels. This one's even wider. Good morning. First job today is try and get the other 7 foot Goliath panel finished, woven, weaved and done. I'm kind of hoping I can get that all finished in a day. It's a tall order, but we'll try. You hold on to that for a second. And that. Thanks. And we've had a lot of rain overnight, which made things rather a little bit sticky as well underfoot. Anyway, we'll plough on. Shouldn't really be plough on, should it? We'll rive on. Now there's a new word for you. Let's rive on. There's a certain amount of randomness to my job, which it can unnerve you at times because you're thinking, where's my next job coming from? It's also quite exciting because there's a lady on a gardener's live garden project at the NEC in a month's time, and this lady's looking for some sort of hazel rustic screen at the back. Nothing fancy, nothing woven, just more of a trellis panel. And I love that. I love the randomness of just one phone call has changed what was a humble beam pole into a trellis panel potentially for the gardener's live show. So we'll see where that goes.
Snail.
I know, I saw that.
Do you want me to take it off?
Yeah, Candy. I don't think it wants to travel at 30 miles an hour, does it? So we have had what can only be described as a pretty crazy afternoon.
Yeah. Here's a snail.
An order for 20 bags of charcoal last minute. So we've been racing around, haven't we, bagging that up?
Yeah.
Quick.
It's just coming out of the shell. Look at that.
Before the thunder and lightning comes, isn't it?
Look at it. It's so just come out. See these little antennas?
So we've got a dash, I'm afraid. That's all for this woodlog. It's bye from me. And bye
And
from...
me.
Did you hear that? Go on, say it again.
And me.
We'll see you on the next woodlog. Thanks for watching this one. And if you're able to, look after the little wildflowers and all the blossom on the trees.
Oh yeah, and the bees.
So do what you can to look after your bit of landscape around you. Look after the little flowers and the little bees and the little wildlife. And we'll see you next time.
Bye bye. Look at all the sheep. Oh, it's got a little patch around his eye. Oh. Hi, baby. Hello, baby. Come here. No. Give it. Give it here.